these walls could talk. I am alone today. Tym Moss is hither, dither, and yonder. But you know what? It's me and my snake. Wait, I need to point this way. That's behind me. But I'm not alone because I'm with all of you today. That's right. I hope everybody is having a wonderful Wednesday. As you know, my weeks are jam-packed, and I wanted to share with everybody, I saw a wonderful show called Patient 13 here at Pangea. The artist is Gail Thomas, and unfortunately, things have short runs these days, and I hope she brings the show back because this subject matter was so completely fascinating to me. She was a cancer survivor that got into a study. You know how we're always getting emails from hospitals and universities about surveys and studies. So she got into this study where they were using psilocybin, right? Magic mushrooms to study depression and anxiety in cancer survivors, right? And that's something that a lot of people have to live with afterwards. And Gail's show was basically about that, but it was actually more than that, okay? It was about stereotypes in the medical industry, you know, the insensitive doctors, the medical people that give their opinion and half the time don't know what they're talking about, and nobody ever looks at the individual. But it was a wonderful show, and I felt very fortunate to attend it. I want to share it here all with you. I believe she's touring it now around the country. It's Gail Thomas, and the show is called Patient 13. Now, many of you have noticed, if you're in the New York area, we are in gridlock alert this week. We have the General Assembly happening in New York, as well as Climate Week, right? And it's kind of fitting that both of those things are overlapping. But what is been really interesting to me, many of you know that I give the tours over at the Explorers Club in New York, and I am a member, and I have had the most incredible conversations with people about climate change. And at the club, the center of all of our lectures this week, besides all the scientific data, is about what do we have to do? And the overriding concept that I've been hearing over and over again is we need to have hope. Don't lose hope. And that's something we all have to think about. And I've been running it through my brain because we read things in the newspaper all the time or in periodicals, and it's very easy to lose hope. But I just find it incredible that some of the most amazing masterminds in the areas of conservation and climate have been out there, and they're really stressing empathy, hope, and kindness. And yesterday I was fortunate to hear Jane Goodall speak. She's an amazing speaker, and you know, she's been around a bunch. And if Jane Goodall can have hope with everything that she's seen, right? Well, so can the rest of us. She's done amazing work with chimpanzees, but also she's a real humanitarian. So, you know what? This is the perfect segue for my guest today, because when you talk about a real humanitarian and a person that's giving back to community, I had to tell you about our guest today. Many of you will recognize his name or his voice from singing the national anthem at Mets games. But he also, and I didn't make this phrase up, but I did read this about him. He's also at the intersection of artistry and activism. And of course, that came from IndiePulse.com. But you know what? I think it's an absolutely brilliant quote to describe him. He's combining community with talent to lift others up. And it seems very fitting that his hashtag is hashtag voice of honor. Please welcome today's guest, Mark MK McLaughlin. Hi, Mark.
How are you? How are you, Wendy?
I am well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Can't complain.
Great. Did you like your introduction?
It was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. That really makes me feel good. Well, you know what? I think what you do is beautiful. And I think what you do is really important nowadays. And I have to ask you, your background is in the music industry. Am I correct?
Yes.
And how did that all start out for you?
Well, I was a DJ first.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
yeah. My brother, he got me into DJing and playing house music and dance hall reggae music. And one day I was at an event DJing, and the way I was DJing and the way people reacted to the songs I was playing, I said to myself, I want to be that person on the record making these people act like that. So, you know, I started, singing, started taking voice lessons, and I mean, music had changed my life.
What made you think, like, a lot of us, and I have a lot of friends that DJ, right? But what made you think that you could do this? There had to be something that was in there already. Were you singing like as a kid? Would you go around the house and sing?
That's a great question. So I used to sing and dance like I used to impersonate Michael Jackson as a kid, and I
Oh,
would do
love
it.
it.
Yeah, and I would do it for seniors. I would go to senior homes and perform Michael Jackson.
Wow. And the seniors, of course, reacted to you and loved seeing you do that.
Yeah, seeing the seniors react the way they did, it definitely encouraged me.
Wow. Wow. I think that's great. What was it about Michael Jackson that spoke so deeply to you?
I mean, his rich talent. Let's
Rich.
start there. His rich talent, like this undeniable talent. The star quality.
Yeah.
Um, and his dance moves. I did, never seen anything like that. So he inspired a lot of people.
He inspired a lot of people. And I have to tell you, growing up, of course, I listened to the Jacksons, right? Who didn't? But and Janet's amazing also, but Michael really, pardon the pun, danced to his own drum. You're right. His dance moves weren't like a human being could even do that. It was like watching a rubber band, and everything, his artistry was just really amazing. When you think about him, right? Think about the videos. When you think about what he brought to the party. So you obviously at a young age, he made a big impression on you.
He made an impression. I could say, Bob Marley made an impression. I could go on. There's Stevie Wonder definitely made an impression.
Stevie Wonder, yeah. Stevie Wonder, of course. I grew up with Stevie Wonder too, and it was amazing, incredible charisma. But the fact that he was blind, people don't realize that there's challenges involved. And yet, if you watch everything about Stevie Wonder, you're not thinking about, the fact that he's not sighted even a little bit, because he's such an incredible performer.
Yeah, him, Michael Bolton with his big, strong voice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you went into DJing first because of your brother was a DJ?
Yeah, my brother was a DJ, and I wanted to be like him, and I started DJing. I wanted to be Mr. Cool. You know, started DJing, and that definitely led the way for singing.
Wow. Wow. So you said you played reggae. What was it appealed to you about reggae besides Bob Marley?
Well, my dad is Jamaican and my mom is Guyanese, so I'm first generation born here in the States. So the culture. I grew up in the culture.
Right. I had a reason for asking that, and I knew that was going to be the answer, and I didn't even read it. I've spent a lot of time in Jamaica. My husband was a photographer who worked with a lot of the local people there, and I have an incredible big spot in my heart for Jamaica and the people there. Plus, it's an incredibly beautiful place, and musically, unbelievably rich. Did
Yeah.
you? Yeah. Did you ever get to meet Bob Marley?
No,
Uh,
I wish. No, I didn't meet him, but I did meet James Brown.
Are you kidding? How did you meet James Brown?
Well, I used to work for CD 101.9,
Okay.
and Kiss FM and Hot 97. So I would see all the stars coming in to get interviewed. And I never forget when I saw him, he just looked like an amazing doll. You know, he didn't look surreal. He looks, you know, he didn't even look real. He was still dressed up so perfect, the hair, the suit.
Yeah, we call that incredible style, right? And
Yeah.
of course, I've seen pictures of him. I've never met him. I've never seen him. Had never seen him perform live. But to what you just said, yeah, he was really incredible. That is very cool that you got to see him in person. My God.
Yeah,
So
it was really cool.
when you were working at Kiss FM, you were seeing a lot of celebrities come in there. And did you get to DJ while you were there?
No, but I did write like I did jingles.
Oh, that's so great! So you're a jingle writer.
Yeah, I was singing them too. When Hot 97 on the morning show, they would play them.
So very cool. How did you know how to do that?
That's a great question. Um, you know, I'm a man of faith, so I could just say God was leading the way because I never thought that I'd be doing. I wanted to sing on radio, but I knew in order for the station to allow, you know, for me to get to that point, I had to do something that was in best in their regard. So doing a jingle promoting the station, they were fine. They were fine with that.
But what a great, incredible opportunity that you turned around for yourself, right? I mean, you
Yes.
weren't there as a celebrity singer or a DJ, and yet you got yourself on radio, which I completely admire somebody that creates an opportunity for themselves.
Well, I tell people this all the time. I don't wait for nobody to book me. I book myself.
That is, I love your way of thinking, Mark, and I wish more talent could be that way. It took me a long time to understand that I had to create my own opportunities because you seem like you came upon that thought a lot earlier in life, and maybe it's your faith, right, that led you that way. But many of us in the entertainment industry, we wait for the agent or the manager or the casting director to do it for us, and sometimes that works, but for most people that doesn't work at all.
No, I mean, if if I if I had a manager that was as proactive and ambitious as I am, I'd have been fine like that. I would have been fine with that. But the majority of the time, and and this is a whole nother story. You come in contact with people that see what you're capable of, and then they want to attach themselves to that. And the work now that's being promoted, they act as if they got those opportunities, and they sell that to other artists. Like, look what I did for them. Meanwhile, it's the artist that's actually being proactive and got it for himself.
Right.
So, yeah.
And you know what, Mark? You speak the truth. I know a ton of people that would completely agree with you. And I know people that have created unbelievable deals for themselves. And then whoever was handling them took the deal and ran with it. And you're right. They use it as bait to get other performers and saying, hey, you know what, look what I'm doing. It's happened to me, and I've only realized it when I was in that the person couldn't really help me, and they were going to try and use who I was to help themselves. Incredible that people would do that, right? Because we have a certain amount of trust. I mean, as a performer, right? And someone who's putting yourself out there, you want to have a certain amount of trust, but you also don't want someone to take advantage of you because of that.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, happens all the time. You
What kind
know,
of advice would you give people like that are just getting into this industry?
be very selective. Be very, very selective. Don't just jump to sign contracts.
Right.
You hear people all the time with their stories about being jammed up with contracts, and I think you should give yourself the time to actually just, slow and steady wins the race. You know, be very selective.
Yeah. I agree with you that slow and steady wins the race. But the thing that works against that is often as human beings, especially when we start out, we're impatient. Okay. We want to believe the flattery because we all want people that are going to believe in us. Right.
Right.
So, someone tells you that and you take it and you believe it. And you're absolutely right. It's not true a lot of the time. And people get jammed up in contracts. And while we're talking, I'm thinking of the people I know that really their careers got incredibly hurt because of the person they were signed up with. You probably know this story way better than me, but isn't that what happened with Kesha?
I don't know her full story, you know, aside from who was it that she was with?
I
The
forgot who it
producer?
was, but the contract really had her tied up. They had to okay everything, and they were taking a huge amount of money from her. And God bless her. She walked away from it. I think she was sued. And these people have a lot of money, Mark. They have a lot of money, and they can do that. They sued her. None of us heard about Kesha for a while. It was a good
Yeah,
couple of years.
she definitely disappeared. She
Yeah,
definitely disappeared. And what I did notice is that she gained a lot of weight, which probably from depression or whatever.
yeah,
But then you saw how she came back and rebranded and changed her look. You
yeah.
know, and when I say she gained weight, I don't mean to fat shame or anything like that. I'm a man of size myself. I'm a man of size myself.
I
But
like that. Man of size, MOS.
you're right, right. So but I'm just saying, speaking to the changes that happened when whatever was transpiring.
Right.
The you could on social media you could see certain things, but then
Yeah.
we also saw how she bounced back from those certain things.
Right. Right. She did. And you're right. She was strong enough and again talented enough. So she was able to rebrand herself, which was really incredible.
Hmm.
And now she's out there again. It's funny, the public, I love having these discussions because the public doesn't realize these things a lot of the time, except an artist will disappear and people will say those famous words, whatever happened to, right? Don't we hear that all the time?
They fell off.
Right. They fell off the face of the earth. And a lot of the time it's because their careers were mismanaged. And, even like Mariah Carey never fell off the face of the earth. She's like huge, too big to fall off the face of the earth. But when she left, what was his name?
Matola.
Tommy Mottola, right. Tommy Mottola went through the whole thing, huge lawsuit, blah, 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 blah. But, Mariah already had made a gazillion dollars, incredible talent, had staying power. So she didn't disappear. But yeah, she had to go do a whole new thing. And what happens is if you're big enough, you can survive it. But a lot of the smaller artists can't survive it. They don't survive it. And that's a shame.
Different strokes for different folks.
Right.
You
Right.
know, um, you just got to be mindful of the things that you sign.
Yeah. Well, you
And
you got
you hit it spot on too. Trust. When you trust, that word trust will get you in trouble.
I agree. You need to be selling t-shirts that say that, and a portion of the proceeds can go to your favorite cause. I like that. Right. It's that word. Well, it's trust, and it's also as artists, right? Um, Myself included, we often experience desperation. With me now, I've been doing this such a long time. I don't experience that because I'm tried and true, and I know I'll land on both feet. But I can remember every time I got desperate, I'd make the wrong decision, whether it was with a model agent or a job that I took that I shouldn't have taken. And you know what? This most recently happened. Somebody called me up and said, "Oh, you're on a commercial for a milk company." I'm like, "I didn't film any commercial for any milk company." And they said, "No, you're playing a character named Aunt Lucy." And the client was Shamrock Farms. And the person who called me up is a fellow performer. and they're in LA. And I'm like, I never did this commercial. It must be someone that looked like me. And he said, the next time it comes on, I'm going to tape it for you. Well, here's what ends up happening. He tapes it and he sends it to me. And it was me. They took still photos and made it into a character for this milk company. So me, I'm now I'm all angry, right? How dare they use my image like that? I'm telling you this story for a reason. So I start Googling and I find out the ad agency and who's in charge. And I type up, on the computer, I type up this long letter, like, cease and desist or whatever. Oh, this is so embarrassing. I hear back from the advertising agency and they send me a copy of a release I signed. Stay with me on this, for stock photography, right? The things that we do. I swear to you, I got paid $150 for that stock photography. And I was thinking about when I did it, which was like 20 years ago. But, I pretty much look the same. But yeah, I probably had to get a bill paid or something. And I did a stock photography job. And for people that don't know what those are, they can use your image anywhere. And you sign a contract saying, hey, you're free, unlimited usage. Well, Mark, I signed one of those. And I share that story with you today because, yes, why did I do that? I probably had a cable bill that I wanted to pay or a phone bill. So what was that? That was an act of desperation.
That's quite a story.
They nailed me too. It
Yeah.
was like, but the running joke now with my friend in LA is he calls me Aunt Lucy because that's who the character was that Shamrock Farms made me. And yes, I never got a dime from it. And they were totally free and legal not to pay me. And you know what? This stuff happens. And what do we learn? We just got to move on. And yes, it became a fun story. I haven't shared it with a lot of people, but because where you and I are at in the discussion, I can totally share it with you. So how is it you ended up doing the national anthem?
I got asked to do it the first time while I was working for radio, and I like to. One of the things that I really liked about it is that singing the national anthem has so many. It's so many notes and transitions and changes. It's good for the voice. It's good for singers. Keeping your voice moving and up and down scales and stuff like that. And what that's aside from being a proud American, that's one of the reasons why I like singing it. But I got invited to sing it, and it went well. And I said, I want to continue. I want to continue doing this. And so, and then I reached out to the New York Mets. I sent them a video of me singing it, and they booked me right away. And there you go. But I want to say,
an
I'm sorry.
incredible story. Yeah, please.
I want to share something when you said desperate. So I won't say this story is going to be a desperate move, but definitely a move made out of excitement. I'm on the train. I'm singing out to myself on the train, LAR train, coming home from work. And this young guy hears me, hey, man, you sound good. Can you sing some more? And I sang some more, and he gave me his business card. He was like, I want to talk to you more. I could probably get you a record deal. He gives me his business card. And I was like, wow. So I sent him my demo. And at the time I was working at, while I was working at Hot 97 at the time, there was a marketing CD that would be mailed out. And one of my guys at the station got my song on that same marketing CD. So the guy from the record label, he calls me and says, "You're on a marketing CD, with all these other artists. We're talking about big like Jay's, like all these other hot celebrities." He said, "We definitely want to sign you. How did you get on this?" So they give me a contract, and me, out of excitement, I didn't go to a lawyer.
Right.
signed the contract.
Ugh.
Then when I realized, I met these people who got me an opportunity to do a song for Bring It On, Fight to the Finish.
Of course.
And I didn't tell the record company because the contract that I signed, I signed away 50% of my publishing.
Oh my God, Mark. Wow.
So I got a friend who believed in me, who gave me all the money to give the record label back, and hired a lawyer and said, Mark wants to be out of his contract and we're giving you all your money back. And the reason why is because you said it stated in the contract that my single would be the next one to come out, but they put out another artist. That went on to win a Grammy too. I'm not naming names because I don't want to get
Yeah,
jammed up. you know. But so the label took the money, signed me out of the contract, and as soon as that happened, I signed on with the Bring It On franchise, wrote and performed a song called "Lights Out" for Bring It On, Fight to the Finish.
yeah.
With a Grammy Award winning producer, and I got to keep all my money in publishing.
One incredible story. I am going to ask, and you feel free if you don't want to share it, you don't have to. What did it cost you to get out of the contract?
Not a crazy amount of money, because remember
Was it a few $1,000s
yeah, it
though?
was. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a reason for asking that for anyone that's listening. What do we call that? Penny wise and pound foolish. If you had continued with them, you would have ended up with like nothing. All right. You rolled the dice, you got the money, you got out of the contract, and you landed on both feet, and you landed ahead of the game. And you also got yourself in a project that got you notoriety. So everything worked for you because you did that, you know?
Yeah, it did. I'd be jammed up if I kept that deal, and I
Right.
would have had to give the record label 50% of my publishing earnings from the film, and they didn't help me get the film. I got the film on my own.
Yeah. I've heard these stories a lot. And unfortunately, the moral of this story is the artist usually ends up paying the 50% and tied up in the deal. And, I get it's interesting. You're not afraid to walk away, that's a valuable thing for people to learn. And it took me a long time to learn to say no, because you've got a lot of people around you saying, what do you mean you said no? Like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you? Even now, people will offer me something and I'll be like, that's dreck. I'm not going to do that. Why am I going to do that? How's that going to further my career? I don't care about paying the cable bill. I'll find another way to pay the cable bill, but what your story resonates within me is you had the power to walk away, to turn your back, and you got the money that you needed to do that, and you ended up ahead of the game, and that's the moral of that story, and that's a good one.
Yeah, that label ended up folding.
Of course, right?
It was a subdivision label under a major.
Wow. And they ended up folding. And here you are. And again, you did so that I want to go back to the fact that you created an opportunity for yourself. The very first time you sang the national anthem was where? Tell me where and what the situation was.
It was a celebrity basketball game.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah, it was 2005.
And they asked you to sing the national anthem.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and this story, you took that ball and ran with it. And the fact that you approached the Mets, I think that's absolutely genius.
Well, now here we go. I'm one of those people, like, when you give me a shot, I'm gonna execute it.
I get that feeling. Yeah.
and then I'm gonna sell it and market it so I could get to the next one.
Yeah.
So everything is about capturing that moment, capturing that content, so then I could promote it to some, like, when I recently did the Hamptons Classic.
Yeah.
They said they gave me opening day because they saw what I did with the Mets.
Right.
They saw what I did with the New York Liberty. So working for radio really gave me a clear sense on how to market yourself, because all the DJs there, they had this thing called the side hustle. They got money from DJing on the station, but not a lot. But the most valuable part about them DJing on the radio station is that they got a chance to promote their name every
That's
day.
exactly
And
right.
then they sold that outside of it. So I said, well, wow, if you're making more money from outside entities or outside work from the job, from marketing yourself, I got to learn how to sell myself too. It's all about, there's two things I like to say. You got to market yourself and you got to hustle, but you got to execute. A lot of people hustle and they don't close the deal. You got to close the deal every time.
I think you're brilliant. You need to write a business manual with all of this in it, because while you're talking, I'm thinking about like my own shortcomings, and I'm thinking about what you're saying. You're absolutely right. People don't close the deal. And you take it the whole way through. And it's interesting because at the radio station, there's a lot of people that could be employed at a radio station that aren't DJs like yourself. They were just working there. You're at the radio station and your eyes are open. You see what's going on. Now, you're writing jingles. They didn't hire you to do that. But you created the opportunity for yourself. You weren't DJing there. There were other people DJing there, right? And
I was
we
I
all
was the mailroom guy. I started
right.
off as the mailroom guy.
Oh, this is such a great story. I hope you're writing all this down and there's a book in the works. Right. You were the mailroom guy. And for me, it's like I tell people I've been in this industry my whole life. I wrote a book called She's the Last Model Standing because I started at really low level and I'm still going strong. These are the things we want to share on this show. The things that you are telling us are brilliant. You're working with these DJs and you had the brain power to observe what was going on. Yeah, they had their DJ salary, but that's not how they were making money. It was a side hustle.
I'd
And
like to share something with you too.
yes,
So as far as like writing a book, um, I am going to be doing some college tours. Speaking to
young
um,
people.
yeah, giving them this information. But one of the things people, when I was working at Hot 97 and I was the mail guy, there was a lot of times staff members, they looked down upon the mail guy, but they
Right.
didn't realize how valuable the mail guy is, because guess what? The mail guy gets to speak to everybody every day because they have to deliver their mail.
Right.
So I got a chance to meet everybody and then get to know them. And again, another valuable tool is when someone likes you, you off to the races. So
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to actually have discussions with everybody that I delivered mail to. Like, I was delivering mail to programming, and when I walk out, I ran into Jay-Z.
Oh, you
Saying, I
did.
mean,
Oh my God.
yeah, there was so much opportunity because I wasn't locked to just one department. I had to
Right.
deal with every department.
But you certainly, there's something within you that lets you look at your situation and you're confident in yourself to get the most out of that situation, to make your own opportunity. And I don't have to tell you what a valuable skill that is. The fact that you went and approached the Mets yourself is completely impressive to me. And it's also for me underlining every chance I had that I didn't do that. I grew up with a mom that said, "Oh, they'll find you. Don't worry. If you're good enough, they'll find you." What do you have to say about that, Mark?
You know, you got to make yourself shiny enough to be seen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They're not gonna find you if you're not shiny, and you got to shine. You got to be really, really shiny and then that will create that light to where people can see you more. And
Yeah.
you do that by, being more proactive and booking. I always refer back to this, like I book myself. I don't wait for others to book me, and I literally do. I create shows, and then I hire other major celebrity acts to be a part of the show, because guess what? I know people are going to come out for them, and then those people get to see me.
Right.
Even just so, I would literally be up 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning researching who to reach out to. Like, I reached out to a tour with Flow Rider for like about 4 years, and that's because I met DJ Chronic, his DJ, and I
Wow.
reached out to him. I reach out to people. I'm a salesman. I knock on doors. I
Right.
make cold calls.
Right.
And I can't tell you how many no's I get, but when I get that yes, we're off to the races. So
Absolutely. And obviously, you're not afraid of rejection. It took me a long time to not be afraid of rejection. I'm no longer afraid of rejection. I don't even think about it. I just move on to the next thing. I had someone very well known come on the show and give me a valuable statement: just go with the yeses, right? And I know you know the comedian Ike Avelli. He and I both believe in that. You just go with the yeses, and if you do that and get rid of those no's, you can move yourself as far ahead as you want.
I'll add to that too.
Yes.
Every no that I get, I put them on that email blast. When I get that big move, that press release, those no's, they get that press release too.
I love it.
They get to see what they missed out on,
Right.
because we're going to do what we got to do regardless.
Right.
So they just that no becomes part of the email, you know, uh, release blast.
Yeah.
So because, hey, it is what it is.
It
You
is
know.
what it is, and you're staying in their face. You're staying in their face, and that's really important to do. Well, Mark, you know what I want to do right now? I want to play your national anthem and share it with everybody. And which
So,
Mets game was this at?
well, I didn't. I did it more than once, but
I know, but which one was this? You sent it to me, so I don't.
oh, that's what they played the Atlanta Braves at Citi Field.
Love it. Love the backstory. Thank you. Okay, Cameron, take it away. Let's play ball. That was absolutely inspiring, fabulous. Listen to the roar of the crowd. How cool is it to be able to do that?
It was beautiful, and I want to apologize because I said that I sent you the New York Mets, but that was actually the national anthem from the WNBA team, the New York Liberty, last year that I did last year, and they won the championship last year.
Yay.
Fun fact.
Wow. And you got to do the anthem for them. And anything you tell me, I'm going to believe, because I know very little about sports. Obviously, I've heard about the Mets. That's all I know. I don't follow like any sports whatsoever, but I do know that people are picked to do the national anthem, that it is a really prestigious thing to be able to do. And you created this opportunity for yourself, and it's well deserved. Listen to that voice that you have, and it's just so deep and so powerful, and you bring everyone out there together. Thank you for what you do.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Now, you did a national anthem where you brought special needs people out on the field with you. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I just felt the need to give kids and kids with special needs an experience of being on a the baseball field at City Field. I thought one of the things I like to say is hey, like together we rise, and let's all get in on the fun. But also it's a great way to cross market as well.
Yeah.
And to to create awareness for that special needs organization by helping them with promotion. And so that's what we was doing by like creating awareness for the organization, and the kids that are in need. So I brought them on the field with me. They acknowledged the organization as they introduced me to, and that's a great way to create awareness.
Oh, I completely agree with you. I talk about this all the time, that you can use celebrity to create awareness, and people go, well, what does that mean, creating awareness? Because you did that, other people will, first of all, be empathetic to special needs, where we take it for granted, right? If we're empathetic people, we just assume other people are. It never ceases to amaze me, even on the streets, the impatience of people walking behind someone with a walker or a cane. Okay. And that's at the simplest level. When you start dealing with people with special needs that are in wheelchairs, you created a moment out on that field by bringing them out there where people are going to think about it more. How cool is that? And they may take their activism even further. Maybe now they'll get involved with an organization. And if they don't have the time to do that, maybe now they'll write a check. But what you do is you get someone's wheels turning in their head. That was really a wonderful thing, that you have that in you, that you're aware of that.
Well, I love to share the blessings.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And I will share a fun fact. Every game that I've sung the national anthem for, we won.
Well, you know what? You said the good Lord leads the way for you a lot of the time. So, you know what? More people should hire you to sing the national anthem, and they'll end up on the winning side. I think that, I definitely think that you are onto something there, because you're coming from such a place of goodness that it's a win-win for absolutely everybody. Now, you just also did a UN peace celebration. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, beautiful experience. My friend asked me would I like to be part of the United Nations Day of Peace concert in Times Square.
Yeah.
Televised around the world. And the reason why she asked me is because she got approached by it, and she said she wanted to make sure that they would be happy. And when she said that, I was like, wow. So I knew I had to show up, and show up I did. And now the United Nations asked me to come back next year for their Peace Day concert as well. But it was a beautiful experience, and to share the stage with such amazing talent. I mean, even Stevie Wonder performed, and other people performed as well. I always dreamed of singing in Times Square, so that was a bucket list right there too. Right in the middle of Times Square. But it was a beautiful day. We met some really great people, and we got a chance to lift spirits up with music in a time of need.
Right, in a time of need, because what the UN stands for right now. Not only is our country divided, the world is very divided. People have to remember that. People who are here just think what's going on is going on. We tend to look at our own selves, but every single person now needs to have a global view. We are really living in a world that is completely global, and there's the political situation all over the world. There's so much going on that to be able, again, You use your celebrity. You went to a celebration of peace sponsored by the UN, which, for me, this week is Climate Week. I'm going to a UN event on Friday. That is being sponsored at the Hard Rock Cafe. I think it's very important to support this stuff. People say to me, and I'm sure you get this too, oh, you're so busy. Why? I don't have time for this. How do you have time for all of this? It's who I am, right?
Right.
It's who I am. It's what I can do.
Right.
I had somebody say to me, oh, Wendy, you know what? You should just retire already. Go down to Florida and play tennis. I wanted to strangle them, Mark. How could they look at me and what I do? And it was so insulting.
You're adorable, and you're a great speaker, and you have a
So
great
cool.
platform. So there's no quitting for you.
There's no quitting for me and no quitting for you, because you know what? I have a friend that says that you can do shit. If you can get out there and you can do shit, you owe it. I feel you owe it as a person living on this earth. And I know that you have probably always been that way. I was absolutely born that way, of looking at the people that didn't have and think about how I could help, How about you when you were a little kid? Were you very aware?
Yes, because my mother raised me. My mother raised me well. I tell people that all the time. My mother was a people's person and a people helper. And she would invite people to our home all the time for cook food, and those who in need, she would help them. And I watched that, and became a part of me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very aware because of her, because I got a chance to witness what she was doing. But I want to say something too about the United Nations, just to touch on something.
Yeah.
When I said to keep yourself shiny, those are one of the reasons why, because the United Nations found me. That opportunity found me. And the reason why my friend did that is because I've been keeping things, clean and shiny. So and again, that's being aware. That's being aware and understanding that, hey, I'm gonna do this work, and I know I gotta represent well, and because you never know what's gonna happen. And that was a huge one that I could have. That's now on the resume.
Yeah, really. Absolutely. That is an incredible skill to have as well, because look what you're able to do with it. And then you'll be back next year. Now, I told you before the show, and I do want to get to this. The the pandemic to me is something that our society is still not dealing with. And when I say our society, it's a worldwide thing. I feel we have to acknowledge how many people died. And for me, after the pandemic, I couldn't go on business as usual. I think I shared with you, I lost everything and had to start all new. You went through your own personal struggle because of the pandemic. Can you share that with us?
Yeah. So when I got COVID, it caused kidney failure, and I was in the Buchanan Bay Medical Center for about almost 3 weeks.
Wow.
And wasn't sure if I was going to make it. They sent the priest to my room for last prayers, but I prayed, and I always say water and prayer. Water. I drank a lot of water and prayed every day, and they got me through it. They got me through. I said I'm going to walk out these doors. And so when they was rolling me out on the wheelchair, I said nope. I said I'm going to walk out these doors. So as soon as I got to that door, I got up and walked.
Wow.
And here we are. I get to be on cool interviews with people with hosts like you.
I love that. But the fact that the kidney failure took a lot of people out, they didn't make it. You were supposed to make it, but that's still pretty heavy duty that happened. And yes, you're right. It's a blessing that you're here, but it's also something I try and remind people all the time. And I'm sure you agree with me on this. The world completely changed because of that. And I can't go on business as usual. I rebuilt my career, but I'm not the same person that I was before the pandemic. And I find that I can't, superficial people, I never liked superficial people, but now I really can't even be in the same room with them. And often now I need to call them out on what they're saying is a lot of hot air because too much happened because of the pandemic. That was too, for me, too much reality. I got to tell you that a virus could take out an entire world, and it did.
What's one of that part, what you said, absolutely. And I'll add to that with, I never thought we'd be confined to our homes.
Yeah. Wow, right? We're confined. We have nowhere to go. And certainly in New York City, in the city, right? I live in the city. We really felt it here because I spent, this is how I cope with it. I went to Central Park a lot. There's an area there called the Rambles where there's coyotes, all kinds of birds, anything that you see in the country. And there it is, right in the middle of Central Park. And I would go there with my daughter. And that was in many ways for me, my sanity, that I could find the natural world. I desperately needed to find the natural world because what was happening was so completely unnatural to me. I kept saying, like, how could this be? You know, we didn't see this coming. But again, lessons learned. Here we all are on the other side of it. And you know, look at what you're doing and what you're going to continue to do, right?
I believe it was Churchill that said, "Don't let a disaster go to waste."
I don't even know that quote, but I love it. Right, right.
I don't, you know, I hope I'm correct, but I mean, when I heard that, what it says to me is that, hey, you know, like something, you know, as horrible as that can now um, create a platform like this where people get to discuss it.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, absolutely. And get other people talking about it because they're discussing it. And like I told you, I didn't podcast before all of this. There was no reason for me. I had a whole set piece and all these cool ways to make money, and that got blown up. And that was a lesson to be learned. But you know what? We as human beings are resilient. We have to remember that. And at the end of the day, we've got to land on both feet, and we have to, if we have a good agenda, then that goes for all my listeners. If you have a good agenda, you want to push that agenda forward. Mark, I have some comments here, and it always takes me a while to scroll through them. There's somebody on here that just said, "Hey, James Christian Jr." Is that a friend of yours?
James, what's the name again?
James Christian Jr.
I believe, yeah.
Cool. Well, he said to say hi. And my friend Apollo Cabrera, of course, is on. My amazing friend Rose Trentman, who she brought boxing, okay, to New York. She's a mover and shaker, and I would love for you to meet her because you and Rose would get along like a house on fire. She had a big birthday party. She had a very famous boxer there. He had to be 6'6". Rose is about 5'2", and I love that. Rose wrote, hang on. You believed in your talent. You extended your opportunity to create bridges and connections. And thank you. My wonderful producer Cameron put it here for me because I'm so technically broken. Mark, you created your opportunity because you believed in your talent, and you extended your opportunity to create bridges, connections, and that is commendable. Rose, thank you so much. I think we also had some other quotes on here from Rose too. Cameron, if you can grab those for me, it's always super helpful. Hello there, and glad to see your interview. And she said, when you sing, you're sending the good vibrations of your soul to the environment. I love that. And everyone.
That's nice. I mean, thank you, Rose. Thank you, Rose.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And Cameron, thank you for popping up. I found a new way so that I can get these comments. Cameron grabs them and pops them up, and then I can read them. You know, you see what you do, and we surround people in all the goodness that we believe in, right? And we need this in the world right now. It's a very tumultuous place. Do you think when you get out there, and I'm thinking about what resonated in me when you sang the national anthem. You've got people of every political persuasion out there. What do you think it does when they hear the national anthem sung by you, for both the sports teams and your audience?
Well, I could say what I hope it does is bring everybody together for a moment.
For a
You
moment,
know,
right?
yeah, a special moment. I hope that's what I would hope that, and they could, it makes me feel very special, and I hope I'm making people feel special as well.
Right. Right. I absolutely do. And I'm going to take it a little further. Wouldn't it be great? You use the word for a moment. Wouldn't it be great if we can, going forward, I just came from this climate conference and all of these well-known speakers are all talking about hope. What can we do as people to restore hope out there, to restore hope in the people that we meet, to restore hope in families, and at the end of the day, to restore hope in the world? That is a very open-ended question, and I want my listeners to think about it and all of us to think, you know what? We're human beings. I believe we have power. We have the power to create change in the world. So,
I do believe we have the power to make change.
yeah.
You know, there's that conversation could give. We could speak another 2 hours with that
I
one.
know. I know we could. I have to be careful. I go down rabbit holes. Real quick, what's next for you? What's coming up next for you?
I have quite a few shows coming up. I'm gonna release some new music, which I'm
Yay.
working on. As I mentioned earlier, there's a college tour that I'm working on.
I love
I don't
that.
want to name the colleges yet because we're still working.
Yeah.
But you could always visit markmkmclaughlin.com to find out what's next.
And you are so smart because that's exactly what I was going to ask you. And Mark is accessible on social media. You can find him there. It's Mark MK McLaughlin. You have to have the MK in there. Don't forget the MK. And you have been an absolute delight on the show today. I always like to end my shows. My co-host who couldn't be with us, Tim, knows how to take the picture by pressing keys on the computer. I unfortunately, because I am technically broken, can use my phone, but I kind of like doing this because the whole thing comes out, the whole computer screen. So look at me. I'm going to take a couple, cheese. And one more. Mark, thank you so much for everything that you shared today and for everything that you're doing out there. You're very inspirational. And I'll be thinking about our conversation as I go through my day. And you actually made me think in terms of my own self and what I need to do next. So thank you.
Thank you for your platform. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And I'll leave you with this. When I just did the family festival in Copiague, New York, and one of my friends said, "Mark, if there's a time the national anthem is needed, it's needed now."
Absolutely.
That like I said again, I hope when people hear it, it brings people together.
Thank you. And thank you for everything you're doing, Mark. Thank you to everyone who tuned in today. We'll be back next week. Bye-bye.